My 16-year-old stepson put lavender in my shampoo knowing I'm deathly allergic, watched me suffer 2 weeks of burning rashes, then left it on his desk like a trophy while his dad called me dramatic, so I vanished without a word. That was 14 months ago. Mark still pays for my favorite allergy cream to be delivered to an empty house every week. This has to be the most selfish and bratty teen I've ever met in my entire life. When I first came to live at my husband's place 3 years back, I tried to connect with him, but it didn't work. He called me a homewrecker on day 1 of me moving in, like it was somehow my fault that his mom cheated and they got divorced. Anyways, I tried taking an interest in his hobbies such as basketball, but when I showed up to his games, he would ignore me the whole time and not even acknowledge me after the game. Taking an interest in his hobbies did not work, so I tried bonding with him through adventures together, and the one time he agreed to go on a hike with me, he backed out last second to go smoke some grass with his friends. We're not very close, and although I would like to know my stepson, I would be okay with not being super close if he at least treated me nicely. But instead, he's verbally abusive to me, and can even sometimes be physically abusive. I have been called names by him, even racial names. He orders me around the house whenever he wants something, calling out whether he wants to eat or drink something and expects me to get it. I never even get a please and thank you. Just last week, he called my name, said he wanted me to drive to McDonald's and buy him a Big Mac meal, then clapped his hands like I was his butler. His father then laughed as this was apparently a hilarious joke. That's another huge problem in this house for me. His father enables his son's actions no matter how extreme or cruel. The boundaries in this household simply don't exist. Excused. My husband dismisses the racism as comedy, the ordering around as typical teenage behavior, and the physical contact as mere rebelliousness. The breaking point arrived during dinner last week when my stepson casually mentioned getting disciplined at school for supposedly unfair reasons. When pressed, he admitted to tormenting a less fortunate classmate, mocking the child's clothing and financial situation while claiming the victim was simply oversensitive. My husband's response horrified me. He defended these cruel actions, lamenting how schools coddle children instead of toughening them up. Unable to remain silent, I pointed out the hypocrisy of expecting resilience from others while raising someone so pampered. The confrontation exploded, ending with my stepson storming off and my husband revealing just how blind he was to his son's behavior. I planned to suggest counseling as a final attempt to salvage our marriage, but the following day brought an assault that made leaving imperative. I have a severe lavender allergy that causes excruciating rashes lasting weeks. During my morning shower, intense itching overwhelmed me, forcing me out to discover hives spreading across my skin. Though my body wash appeared safe and research confirmed no lavender in the ingredients, I recognized the familiar reaction immediately. Passing my stepson's open door, dried lavender sat brazenly displayed on his desk, a trophy of his cruelty. Emptying my shampoo bottle revealed more hidden at the bottom. This deliberate poisoning ended any hope for our marriage. When they returned, my stepson mockingly questioned my long sleeves, clearly savoring his handiwork while I remained silent. That night, I researched divorce attorneys and found representation, though I haven't made contact yet. First, I'm implementing my own justice. My stepson suffers from severe lactose intolerance, experiencing days of digestive distress from any dairy consumption. If he could poison me with my allergen, I reasoned the punishment should match the crime. This past week, I've been systematically introducing dairy into his supposedly safe meals. His packed lunches now contain hidden milk products, and I've been incorporating butter into dishes he believes are dairy-free. I've perfected this deception over months, carefully selecting products and recipes that mask the presence of dairy. For breakfast, he usually has eggs, which sometimes happen to be cooked in some butter. Some cheese also finds its way into his meals sometimes, and he never notices until it's too late. He has been going to the toilet nonstop for the past week and is complaining about it daily. He had to be picked up from school yesterday because he decided to eat a sandwich in class, a sandwich which had just a slight amount of real cheese mixed in with the dairy-free cheese. He got the urge to go to the toilet mid-class and had to run out of class and into the bathroom to unload there. His stomach felt so queasy he had to go home after 2. His father is convinced that he is having stomach issues and that he needs to get checked out. I have not spoken much about it to him, but I have managed to keep my cover from being blown. I've been careful to time everything perfectly. The dairy goes into his food when my husband isn't looking, and I make sure to prepare Tyler's portions separately. Yesterday morning, I watched him wolf down his scrambled eggs, not knowing I'd cooked them in real butter instead of the dairy-free spread. 20 minutes later, he was sprinting to the bathroom, backpack abandoned in the hallway. My husband Mark found me in the Kit Miller when he came downstairs. He grabbed his coffee and shook his head. Tyler's having another episode. I'm calling the doctor today. I nodded sympathetically while washing the butter residue from the pan. Poor thing. Maybe it's a stomach bug going around school. Mark kissed my forehead before heading to work. Could be. Can you keep an eye on him today? He might need to stay home. After Mark left, Tyler emerged from the bathroom looking pale. He glared at me from the doorway. What did you put in my eggs? I turned, keeping my expression neutral. Same dairy-free ingredients as always. Why? He clutched his stomach. Something's wrong. This doesn't just happen. Maybe you ate something at school yesterday? I suggested, knowing full well he'd had the contaminated sandwich I'd packed. Or picked up a virus. Tyler's eyes narrowed. You did something. I walked past him toward the laundry room, rolling up my sleeves slightly. The rashes from the lavender were still visible, angry red welts covering my forearms. Tyler's gaze followed the movement, and I saw a flicker of something, maybe satisfaction, cross his face. I need to do laundry, I said calmly. You should rest if you're not feeling well. He blocked my path. You think you're so smart. Move, Tyler. He didn't budge. Instead, he leaned closer. Dad won't believe you if you try to tell him anything. You know that, right? I met his stare. I'm not telling anyone anything. Now move. He stepped aside slowly, but not before flicking my temple as I passed. The familiar sting made me clench my jaw, but I kept walking. That afternoon, I prepared lunch while Tyler lounged on the couch, playing video games. I made him a turkey sandwich with his special dairy-free cheese, except I'd mixed in just a tiny bit of regular cheddar, finely grated and invisible to the eye. Lunch is ready, I called out. He didn't acknowledge me, just kept playing. I set the plate on the coffee table and returned to the Kit Miller. 15 minutes later, I heard him eating while still gaming. 20 minutes after that, the controller clattered to the floor as he bolted for the bathroom again. I continued folding laundry, listening to him groan through the bathroom door. My phone buzzed with a text from Mark asking how Tyler was doing. I replied that he seemed to be having a rough day. When Tyler finally emerged, he looked even worse. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and he moved gingerly toward his room. Do you need anything? I asked from the hallway. He whirled around. What are you doing to me? I don't know what you mean. This started right after. He paused, probably remembering the lavender he'd left on his desk. Right after last week. I tilted my head. After what? His jaw clenched. Nothing. Tyler, if something happened last week that you think is connected to how you're feeling, maybe you should tell your father. Shut up. He slammed his bedroom door. I spent the rest of the afternoon researching divorce lawyers on my laptop. The one I'd found seemed promising, specializing in cases involving domestic situations. I saved her contact information and cleared my browser history. When Mark came home that evening, Tyler was back in the bathroom. Mark immediately went to check on him, and I heard their muffled conversation through the door. Tyler was insisting someone was poisoning him, while Mark tried to calm him down. Nobody's poisoning you, son, Mark said as they emerged. We'll see the doctor tomorrow. Tyler shot me a venomous look. It's her. She's doing something. Mark sighed. Tyler, stop. Cynthia's been nothing but helpful while you've been sick. She hates me. That's enough. Mark's voice held a warning, but it was directed at Tyler, not me. Apologize to your stepmother. Tyler's face flushed. I'm not apologizing for anything. Then go to your room. Tyler stormed off, but not before making a crude gesture in my direction. Mark didn't see it. He was already turning to me with an apologetic expression. I'm sorry about him. He's just not feeling well. I nodded. It's okay. I understand. That night, I made dinner, a simple pasta dish with Tyler's special dairy-free Alfredo sauce. While Mark was setting the table, I stirred a spoonful of regular Parmesan into Tyler's portion, just enough to cause discomfort, not enough to be detected. Tyler picked at his food suspiciously, examining each bite. This tastes different. It's the same brand we always buy, I said, showing him the empty jar of dairy-free sauce. He took another tentative bite, then another. Hunger won over suspicion, and he cleaned his plate. I watched the clock, knowing it would take about 30 minutes. Sure enough, right on schedule, Tyler's face contorted. He pushed back from the table and rushed away. Mark called after him, concerned, but Tyler was already gone. I really think it's anxiety, I suggested to Mark. The stress of being sick might be making it worse. Mark rubbed his temples. Maybe. The doctor will figure it out tomorrow. Later that night, I lay in bed beside Mark, staring at the ceiling. My skin still itched from the lavender, despite the cream. Every time I moved, the fabric of my pajamas irritated the rashes. I thought about Tyler's smug face when he'd seen the welts on my arms, how he'd left that lavender on his desk like a trophy. The next morning, I woke early to pack Tyler's lunch. A peanut butter and jelly sandwich, safe and dairy-free, or so it appeared. I'd mixed a small amount of milk powder into the peanut butter, undetectable but effective. Tyler was reluctant to go to school, complaining of stomach cramps. Mark insisted he try, promising to pick him up if necessary. I can't keep missing classes, Tyler whined. Then maybe you should see the doctor today instead of tomorrow, Mark suggested. I have a test, Tyler muttered, grabbing his backpack. I handed him his lunch bag. I made your favorite, PB&J. He snatched it without thanks and left with Mark. I spent the morning cleaning, careful to wear gloves to protect my still healing skin. Around 11, my phone rang. The school nurse informed me that Tyler was having severe stomach issues and needed to be picked up. I drove to the school, finding Tyler hunched in the nurse's office, pale and miserable. He barely looked at me as I signed him out. In the car, he finally spoke. I know it's you. What's me? Don't play dumb. His voice was weak but angry. You're getting back at me. I kept my eyes on the road. For what, Tyler? He fell silent. We both knew what he'd done, but neither would say it. The lavender, the rashes, the weeks of pain I'd endure, all because I dared to call him spoiled. At home, Tyler went straight to his room. I heard him on the phone with his friends, complaining about his stomach, about me, about everything. I continued researching apartments, knowing I'd need somewhere to go after the divorce. Mark came home early to take Tyler to an urgent care appointment. They left while I prepared dinner, a simple meal I wouldn't tamper with. I needed Tyler to have some normal meals mixed in to avoid suspicion. They returned 2 hours later with antacids and dietary restriction sheets. The doctor had found nothing wrong, suggesting stress and possibly irritable bowel syndrome. See, Tyler said to his father, even the doctor doesn't know, because it's not medical. Mark looked exhausted. Tyler, please, just follow the diet suggestions and take the medicine. That night passed quietly. I gave Tyler a break, serving him actually dairy-free meals. He seemed suspicious of the reprieve, but ate without incident. The next day, a Saturday, I watched Tyler from the Kit Miller window as he shot baskets in the driveway. He looked healthier, more energetic. The bathroom visits had stopped. He probably thought he'd won, that I'd given up. I prepared his protein shake, the post-workout drink he always demanded. Dairy-free protein powder, almond milk, banana, and just a splash of regular milk. Such a small amount, but enough. He came inside sweaty and grabbed the shake without acknowledgement. I watched him drain half of it in one go before heading to shower. By the time he got out, his stomach was already gurgling. The bathroom door slammed. Mark looked up from his newspaper. Not again. I shrugged sympathetically. Maybe he's lactose intolerant? That can develop suddenly in teenagers. Mark considered this. But we buy all dairy-free stuff for him. Maybe something at school? Or when he's out with friends? Tyler emerged looking furious. He pointed at the empty shake glass. Test it. Test what? Mark asked. The shake. Test it for dairy. She put something in it. Mark stood up, his patience wearing thin. Tyler, that's enough. Cynthia uses the same dairy-free ingredients she always has. Then test it. I'm not testing anything. You're being paranoid. Tyler's face reddened. You always take her side. I'm not taking sides. I'm being rational. The argument escalated. Tyler accused me of poisoning him. Mark defended me, and I stayed silent, playing the confused victim. Eventually, Tyler stormed off, and Mark apologized to me again. That evening, while making dinner, I thought about the divorce lawyer's website I'd bookmarked. Just a few more days, I told myself. A few more days of this. Then I'd make the call and start the process of leaving. I looked at my arms where the rashes were finally starting to fade. The lavender had caused 2 weeks of agony so far, and I still had probably another week before they'd fully heal. Every shower hurt. Every fabric that touched my skin caused irritation. Sleep was difficult with the constant itching. Tyler appeared in the Kit Miller doorway. We need to talk. I continued chopping vegetables. About what? You know what? I set down the knife and turned to face him. If you have something to say it. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Stop whatever you're doing, and I'll stop what I'm doing. I don't know what you mean. His eyes flicked to my covered arms. Yes, you do. I maintained my composure, meeting his gaze steadily. Tyler, I genuinely don't understand what you're implying. If you're feeling unwell, perhaps you should speak with your father about seeing a specialist. His face twisted with frustration. Fine, play dumb, but I'm watching you. He stalked away, leaving me to finish dinner preparations. That evening, I served completely dairy-free meals, watching Tyler's suspicious examination of every bite. Mark seemed relieved when Tyler managed to eat without rushing to the bathroom afterward. The following morning, Sunday, I woke to find Mark already dressed for golf. He kissed my forehead gently. Tyler seems better. Maybe it was just a bug after all. I smiled up at him. Let's hope so. Enjoy your game. After Mark left, I prepared Tyler's breakfast. Plain toast with dairy-free spread, orange juice, and fruit. Nothing tampered with. I needed to establish a pattern of normal meals to throw off suspicion. Tyler came downstairs late, eyeing the breakfast warily. It's safe, I said, turning back to the dishes. I'm not the monster you think I am. He grabbed the plate without responding. I heard him eating in the living room while I cleaned up, my movements careful to avoid aggravating the still tender rashes on my arms. The lavender reaction had spread further than I'd initially realized, creating patches of inflamed skin along my neck and chest as well. Around noon, Tyler's friend Jake arrived. They headed to Tyler's room, and I heard them talking through the thin walls as I passed by with laundry. Tyler was complaining about his stomach issues, insisting someone was deliberately making him sick. Jake laughed it off, suggesting Tyler was being paranoid. I knocked on Tyler's door. I'm making lunch. Would Jake like to stay? Tyler opened the door a crack. We're going out. Where to? None of your business. I heard Jake whisper something, and Tyler's expression shifted. Actually, yeah, make us something. Jake wants to try your cooking. The challenge in his voice was clear. He wanted to see if I'd tamper with food when his friend was present. I smiled pleasantly. Of course. Any preferences? Whatever, Tyler said, closing the door. I prepared 2 identical sandwiches, both genuinely dairy-free. When I called them down, Tyler watched me like a hawk as I set the plates on the table. Jake thanked me politely while Tyler remained silent. They ate in the Kit Miller while I folded laundry in the adjacent dining room. I heard Jake complimenting the food, saying Tyler was lucky to have someone who cooked for him. Tyler's response was a bitter laugh. Yeah, real lucky, he muttered. After Jake left, Tyler seemed emboldened by his lack of stomach issues. He cornered me in the hallway as I carried the laundry basket upstairs. See, when Jake's here, suddenly I'm fine. Funny how that works. I shifted the basket to my hip. Maybe you're less stressed when your friends are around. The doctor did mention anxiety as a possible cause. He stepped closer, blocking my path to the stairs. You think you're clever, don't you? Tyler, please move. This basket is heavy. Instead of moving, he reached out and flicked my temple again. Harder this time. The sharp pain made me flinch, nearly dropping the basket. As I steadied it, my sleeve rode up slightly, revealing the edge of the lavender rash. Tyler's eyes lit up with that familiar satisfaction. Still hurting? I pulled my sleeve down. Move. He laughed and stepped aside with exaggerated courtesy. Whatever you say, stepmother. That afternoon, Mark returned from golf in good spirits. He found me in the bedroom, applying cream to the rashes. I'd thought he was still downstairs and hadn't heard him come up. My God, what happened to your arms? He sat beside me on the bed, concern creasing his features. I quickly pulled my sleeves down. It's nothing, just an allergic reaction. To what? This looks serious. He gently took my hand, pushing the sleeve back up to examine the welts. Have you seen a doctor? It's under control. I have cream for it. Mark's frown deepened. What caused this? We need to figure out what you came into contact with. I hesitated, then shook my head. I'm not sure. Maybe something in the laundry detergent. I switched brands last week. We should go back to the old brand immediately. He traced a finger near one of the rashes, careful not to touch it. This must be so painful. I felt a twist of guilt at his genuine concern, but it passed quickly. Where was this concern when his son was abusing me daily? I'll be fine. That evening, Tyler seemed to be testing boundaries. During dinner, he made increasingly crude comments, watching his father's reaction. Mark, exhausted from golf and worried about my rashes, had less patience than usual. Tyler, enough, Mark said sharply, when Tyler made a particularly inappropriate joke about our food looking like something from a toilet. What has gotten into you lately? Tyler shot me a look. Maybe I'm just sick of pretending everything's fine in this house. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing, Tyler muttered, stabbing at his food. After dinner, I overheard Mark and Tyler arguing in Tyler's room. Their voices carried through the walls as I sat in our bedroom, laptop open to apartment listings. You need to show Cynthia more respect, Mark was saying. She's my wife, and she's been nothing but patient with you. Patient? Tyler's voice rose. You have no idea what? Cooks your special meals, cleans up after you, tries to connect with you despite your constant rejection? You don't know everything, Dad. Then tell me, what terrible thing has Cynthia done? Silence. Tyler couldn't admit to the lavender without incriminating himself. That's what I thought, Mark said. You're grounded. No friends over, no going out except for school. What? That's bullshit. Watch your language. Maybe some time at home will help you reflect on your behavior. Mark left Tyler's room, slamming the door behind him. He found me in our bedroom, still browsing apartments under the guise of reading news articles. I'm sorry you had to hear that, he said, sitting heavily on the bed. I don't know what's going on with him. I closed the laptop. He's going through a difficult time. Stop making excuses for him. Mark rubbed his face. He's been terrible to you, and I've let it go on too long. For a moment, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe Mark was finally seeing the truth. But then he continued. I think the stomach issues are making him act out more than usual. Once we get that sorted, he'll calm down. The hope died. Even now, he was making excuses. The next morning, Monday, I prepared Tyler's breakfast and lunch while Mark supervised, ensuring Tyler saw everything was normal. Tyler left for school reluctantly, grounded and furious. I spent the morning at a coffee shop, using their Wi-Fi to research divorce lawyers more thoroughly. I even filled out a consultation request form, but didn't submit it yet. I wanted to time everything perfectly. Around 10, I received a call from the school. Tyler was in the nurse's office again, but this time it wasn't stomach-related. He'd gotten into a physical altercation with another student. I drove to the school, finding Tyler in the principal's office with a split lip and the beginnings of a black eye. The principal, Mrs. Miller, looked grave. Mrs. Davidson, thank you for coming. There was an incident during PE class. Tyler attacked another student. I looked at Tyler, who stared at the floor. What happened? Mrs. Miller consulted her notes. According to witnesses, Tyler was teasing Adam about his clothing again. When Adam tried to walk away, Tyler followed him, continuing the harassment. Adam finally pushed Tyler away, and Tyler responded by punching him. My stomach sank. Adam, the poor kid Tyler had been bullying. Where's Adam now? I asked. In the nurse's office. His parents are on their way. Mrs. Miller's expression was stern. This is a serious matter. We have a zero-tolerance policy for physical violence. Tyler finally looked up, his eye already swelling. He started it by pushing me. After sustained verbal harassment, Mrs. Miller countered, multiple students confirmed you were following Adam and taunting him. I remained silent, processing this escalation. Tyler's behavior was spiraling beyond our home. Tyler is suspended for 3 days, Mrs. Miller continued. He'll need to complete an anti-bullying program before returning. I'll be calling Mr. Davidson as well. We left the office in silence. In the car, Tyler held an ice pack to his eye, sulking. Adam's bigger than me, he finally said. I didn't think he'd actually fight back. So you've been targeting him because you thought he was weak? I kept my voice neutral. I wasn't targeting anyone. God, you sound like them. Tyler, you admitted to making fun of his clothes. Multiple witnesses saw you following and taunting him. Whatever. Take their side too. We drove home in tense silence. I helped Tyler inside and got him settled on the couch with fresh ice for his eye. Then I called Mark. Suspended? Mark's voice was shocked. For fighting? I explained the situation, including the bullying context. Mark said he'd leave work early to deal with it. While Tyler nursed his injuries, I prepared lunch, a completely safe meal. Despite everything, I felt a twinge of sympathy seeing him hurt. But then I remembered the lavender, the racial slurs, the constant abuse I'd endured. Tyler must have sensed my moment of sympathy because he chose that moment to speak. This is your fault. I turned from the stove. How is you bullying Adam my fault? Everything was fine before you came along. Dad and I were happy. Your parents were already divorced when I met your father. But we were dealing with it. Then you showed up and ruined everything. I set his plate on the coffee table. Tyler, I've tried everything to connect with you. I've attended your games, planned activities, cooked your special meals. I never asked you to do any of that. He sat up, wincing as the movement jostled his eye. I never wanted a stepmother. I never wanted you here. I understand that, but I'm here, and I'm trying. Try harder, he spat. Or better yet, just leave. I returned to the Kit Miller without responding. Let him stew in his anger and pain. I had my own plans forming. Mark arrived home an hour later, his face thunderous. He went straight to Tyler, and I heard their heated discussion from the Kit Miller. Mark was genuinely angry this time, not making excuses. Suspended for bullying and fighting? Tyler, what were you thinking? He pushed me first. After you harassed him, the principal told me everything. This is exactly the behavior we discussed at dinner last week. Oh, so now you care? When the school calls? I've always cared. I just thought, I hoped you'd grow out of this phase. It's not a phase, Dad. I'm miserable, and no one cares. Miserable? You have everything you could want. A nice home, your own car, money for whatever you need. I don't have a real family anymore. Mom's gone, and you brought her here to replace her. The words hung in the air. I stayed in the Kit Miller, pretending to clean while listening. Mark's voice softened. Tyler, no one's replacing your mother. Cynthia is my wife, not a replacement for anyone. She hates me. She doesn't hate you. You've been horrible to her, and she still cooks your meals, cleans your room, tries to bond with you. Because she has to. Because you make her. No one makes Cynthia do anything. She does it because she cares, despite how you treat her. Tyler snorted. Right. She cares so much. The conversation continued, but I stopped listening. I was thinking about the consultation form I'd almost submitted, about the apartments I'd viewed online, about the freedom waiting for me once I left this toxic situation. That evening, dinner was subdued. Tyler's face looked worse as the bruising developed, and he ate mechanically, not bothering to inspect his food. Mark barely spoke, still processing his son's suspension. I served the meal and ate in silence, my mind elsewhere. The lavender rashes had finally started to truly heal, though I knew I'd have marks for at least another week. Every time I caught Tyler glancing at my covered arms, I saw that flicker of satisfaction in his eyes, even through his own pain. After dinner, Mark announced Tyler's additional punishment. No phone, no video games, no computer except for schoolwork. Tyler exploded. This is insane! I'm already suspended, and you're lucky that's all. The other boy's parents could press charges. Tyler paled. For one punch? For sustained harassment culminating in assault, Mark corrected. You've been bullying this kid for who knows how long. It was just jokes. Jokes that hurt people aren't jokes, Tyler. They're cruelty. Tyler stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. This is all her fault. He pointed at me. Everything was fine before she— Sit down, Mark commanded. Cynthia has nothing to do with your choice to bully a classmate. You don't understand anything, Tyler shouted. She's not who you think she is. Then tell me who she is, Mark challenged. Tell me what terrible thing she's done to deserve your treatment. Tyler's mouth opened and closed. Again, he couldn't admit to the lavender without revealing his own crime. That's what I thought, Mark said. Go to your room. You'll do your suspension work from home. No leaving the house except for the anti-bullying program. Tyler stormed off, but not before shooting me a look of pure hatred. I began clearing the table, maintaining my facade of innocent confusion. Later that night, as Mark showered, I submitted the consultation request to the divorce lawyer. The automatic response said someone would contact me within 48 hours. I deleted the email and cleared my browser history. Mark emerged from the bathroom looking exhausted. I don't know what to do with him anymore. I sat on the bed, applying cream to my healing rashes. Maybe this suspension will be a wake-up call. Maybe. He sat beside me, noticing my careful application of the cream. Those still hurt? Getting better, I said, pulling my sleeves down. I'm going to check all our detergents tomorrow. We need to figure out what caused this reaction. I nodded, knowing he'd find nothing. The lavender evidence was long gone, flushed down the drain or thrown away. Only Tyler and I knew the truth. The next morning, Tuesday, Tyler's first day of suspension, I woke to find him already in the kit miller. His eye looked terrible, purple and swollen nearly shut. He was attempting to make breakfast one-handed while holding ice to his face. Let me help, I offered. I don't need your help. I watched him struggle with the eggs for a moment before stepping in anyway. Sit down. I'll make you something. He reluctantly sat at the table, watching suspiciously as I prepared his breakfast. Everything dairy-free, nothing tampered with. I even made sure he could see every step of the process. Why? He asked as I set the plate in front of him. Why what? Why are you being nice when I'm suspended for fighting? I shrugged. You're hurt. Despite everything, I don't enjoy seeing you in pain. He studied me with his good eye. But you do enjoy something. I met his gaze steadily. I enjoy when this family has peaceful moments. They're rare, but I treasure them. He snorted but began eating. Halfway through the meal, he spoke again. Adam's parents aren't pressing charges. That's good news. Yeah, he pushed eggs around his plate. His mom called Dad, said Adam admitted to pushing first, so they're calling it even. That's very generous of them. Tyler's jaw tightened. Adam told them he felt sorry for me. Why? Because he said I must be really messed up inside to act the way I do. Tyler's voice was bitter. A poor kid feeling sorry for me. How pathetic is that? I chose my words carefully. Sometimes the people with the least material wealth have the most emotional wisdom. Tyler looked up sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Just that Adam seems to understand something about pain and acting out that maybe resonates with his own experiences. You don't know anything about it. You're right, I conceded. I don't know Adam, but I know hurt people often hurt others. Tyler finished his breakfast in silence. As he stood to leave, he paused. My stomach's been fine since Sunday. That's good. Yeah. Funny how it cleared up suddenly. He walked away before I could respond. I spent the morning doing household chores while Tyler stayed in his room, supposedly doing schoolwork. The divorce lawyer's office called around 11, scheduling a consultation for Thursday afternoon. I confirmed quietly, noting the appointment in my phone under Dr. Dermatologist, in case Mark checked. At lunch, I knocked on Tyler's door. I'm making sandwiches. Not hungry, came the muffled response. You should eat something. You need to take ibuprofen for the swelling, and you shouldn't take it on an empty stomach. The door opened a crack. Tyler's eye looked worse, if possible. Fine. He followed me to the kit miller, sitting at the table while I prepared food. Again, I made everything in full view, using only safe ingredients. Your eye looks painful, I observed. It is. I have stronger pain medication from when I had dental work. Would you like some? He looked suspicious. Why would you offer that? Because you're in pain, and ibuprofen might not be enough. You'd probably poison it. I sighed, setting his sandwich in front of him. Tyler, I'm not trying to poison you. Despite what you think, I don't want to hurt you. But you have been. With the dairy. The direct accusation hung between us. I maintained my confused expression. I don't know what you're talking about. All your food has been dairy-free, just like always. We both know that's not true. If you genuinely believe I've been putting dairy in your food, why haven't you told your father? Tyler's good eye narrowed. Because he wouldn't believe me. He never believes me when it comes to you. Or maybe because you know it's not true, and you're looking for someone to blame for your stomach issues. Don't turn this around on me. His voice rose. I know what you've been doing, and I know what you did. I said quietly. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Tyler went very still. What? I gestured to my arms, still covered by long sleeves. I know about the lavender. His face went through several expressions. Surprise, guilt, then defiance. I don't know what you're talking about. The dried lavender on your desk, the lavender in my shampoo, the 2 weeks of agony I've endured. Prove it, he challenged. I don't need to prove it. We both know the truth. Tyler stood abruptly. Even if that were true, which it's not, it would be nothing compared to what you've done to me. What have I done, Tyler? Tried to be part of your life? Cooked your meals? Attended your games? You've ruined everything. He slammed his hand on the table. Dad barely pays attention to me anymore. It's all about you now. Your father loves you. He's trying to discipline you because he cares. He's trying to impress you, make you think he's a good father. He is a good father. You're the one pushing him away with your behavior. Tyler grabbed his sandwich and headed for the stairs. You don't understand anything. I watched him go, my heart racing from the confrontation. We'd both finally acknowledged the war between us, even if neither would fully admit our crimes. That afternoon, Mark called to check in. Tyler was in his room, music blaring through the walls. I assured Mark everything was fine, not mentioning the confrontation. I've been thinking, Mark said. Maybe we should try family counseling. All 3 of us. My stomach dropped. Oh, Tyler's obviously struggling with blended family dynamics. Maybe a professional could help. I thought of my Thursday appointment with the divorce lawyer. That might be helpful. I'll research some therapists tonight. We need to address this before it gets worse. After we hung up, I sat at the Kit Miller table considering my options. Family counseling would mean more time in this toxic situation, but refusing would look suspicious. Tyler emerged for dinner, his face a mess of purple and green bruises. He watched me prepare the meal like a hawk, following my every movement. All dairy-free, I said, setting his plate down. As you can see, he poked at the food suspiciously before eating. Mark arrived home halfway through dinner, looking worn out. How was your day? He asked Tyler. Peachy, Tyler muttered. Got accused of poisoning people, so that was fun. Mark looked at me confused. I shrugged. He's been saying strange things all day. I think the pain medication is affecting him. I haven't taken any pain medication, Tyler protested. The ibuprofen, I mean, I clarified. Tyler glared at me but didn't pursue it. Mark looked between us, sensing the tension. Well, I have some news, Mark said, clearly trying to change the subject. I found a family therapist who specializes in blended families. She has an opening next Monday. Tyler dropped his fork. Therapy? Seriously? We need help navigating this situation, Mark said firmly. All of us. I'm not going to therapy. It's not optional. Tyler stood, his chair scraping loudly. This is insane. I'm the one who got punched in the face and somehow I need therapy? You got punched because you were bullying someone, Mark reminded him, and your behavior at home has been unacceptable. Whatever. Tyler stormed off again, leaving his half-eaten dinner. Mark sighed deeply. I'm sorry. I thought he'd be more receptive. It's a big adjustment, I said. Maybe he'll come around. That night, I lay awake thinking about the therapy appointment, the divorce consultation, the war Tyler and I were waging. My skin still itched from the healing rashes, a constant reminder of how this all started. Wednesday morning dawned gray and rainy. Tyler stayed in his room most of the day, only emerging for meals. Each time, he watched me prepare his food with laser focus. I made everything completely safe, knowing I needed to be careful now that we'd both acknowledged the truth. The divorce lawyer's office called to confirm my Thursday appointment. I took the call in the bathroom, shower running to mask my voice. Everything was falling into place. That evening, Mark brought home Chinese takeout to give me a break from cooking. Tyler picked at his food, complaining his stomach hurt. I thought you said it was better, Mark said, concerned. Tyler shot me a look. It was. Now it's not. But you saw me order the food, Mark pointed out, and I picked it up myself. Cynthia hasn't touched it. Maybe it's stress, I suggested. The suspension, the fight, everything catching up. Tyler pushed his plate away. Maybe. Later, as I prepared for bed, I noticed my cream was running low. The lavender reaction had required so much treatment. I made a mental note to buy more before my appointment tomorrow. Mark was already in bed reading. Tyler seemed paranoid about the food tonight. He's been like that all week, I said, joining him, ever since his stomach issues started. The doctor said there was nothing physically wrong. Mark set his book aside. Do you think it could be psychological? I chose my words carefully. Anxiety can manifest in physical ways. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe the therapy will help with that too. I nodded, knowing I'd likely be gone before that appointment ever happened. Tomorrow I'd meet with the lawyer, set things in motion. Soon, this would all be behind me. As Mark turned off the light, I touched the tender skin on my arms. The rashes were finally fading to pink marks, but the memory of the burning, itching agony remained fresh. Tyler had crossed a line with the lavender, and I'd responded in kind. But this cycle of revenge was unsustainable. Thursday morning arrived with bright sunshine, a stark contrast to my mood. I prepared breakfast for Tyler and Mark, keeping everything visible and safe. Tyler ate mechanically, his bruised face showing less swelling but more color variation. I have a dermatologist appointment this afternoon, I told Mark, for the rashes. Good idea. Do you want me to come with you? No, it's just a consultation. I'll be fine. Tyler looked up sharply at the mention of the rashes, but said nothing. After Mark left for work, I found Tyler in the living room, attempting to play video games despite his grounding. You know you're not supposed to be doing that, I said. He paused the game. You going to tell Dad? He studied me with his good eye. Why not? Because I'll be leaving soon anyway. The words hung in the air. Tyler slowly set down the controller. You're divorcing him? I didn't answer directly. Your father's a good man, Tyler. But this situation, it's toxic for everyone. Because of me, because of us. What we've become to each other. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. The lavender was messed up. It was the closest he'd come to an admission. I sat in the chair across from him. Yes, it was. And what I did in response was wrong too. So you admit it? The dairy? I met his gaze. We've hurt each other, Tyler. But it has to stop. Does Dad know about any of it? Number. And he doesn't need to. This is between us. Tyler leaned back, wincing as the movement pulled at his bruised face. If you leave, he'll blame me. I'll make sure he doesn't. This isn't about you, isn't it? I considered my words. It's about recognizing when a situation can't be fixed, when staying causes more harm than good. I won't miss you, he said, but there was less venom than usual. I know. We sat in uncomfortable silence until I had to leave for my appointment. As I gathered my things, Tyler spoke again. The dairy thing. It's over? It's over, I confirmed. No more games between us. He nodded slowly. Okay. I drove to the lawyer's office with mixed emotions. The meeting was productive. She outlined the process, discussed asset division, and gave me a timeline. I could file as early as next week. When I returned home, Tyler was back in his room. I prepared dinner normally. No tampering, no games. Mark came home to find a peaceful house, unaware of the morning's conversation. How was the dermatologist? He asked. Informative, I said truthfully. I have a better understanding of what I need to do. That night, I watched Mark sleep and felt a pang of regret, not for leaving, but for how it had all turned out. In another life, maybe Tyler and I could have found common ground, but too much damage had been done. Friday passed quietly. Tyler kept his distance, and I maintained the peace by preparing all his meals safely. His bruises were fading to yellow and green, making him look sickly rather than injured. Mark spent the evening confirming our therapy appointment for Monday. I nodded along, knowing I'd be filing for divorce before then. Saturday morning, I woke early and made a special breakfast. Pancakes with fresh fruit, Tyler's favorite. All dairy-free, genuinely safe, a peace offering of sorts. Tyler came downstairs, drawn by the smell. He looked at the spread suspiciously. What's the occasion? No occasion, just felt like making something nice. He sat slowly, still wary. Dad's at the hardware store. I know. We ate in relative silence, the most peaceful meal we'd shared in weeks. As Tyler finished his last bite, he spoke. I'm sorry about the lavender. The apology surprised me. Thank you. It was cruel. I knew how bad your allergy was. Why did you do it? He shrugged, looking younger than his 16 years. You called me spoiled. It mad me off. You are spoiled, I said gently. But that didn't justify what I did either. The dairy thing? Yes. Tyler pushed his empty plate away. We're pretty messed up, aren't we? We brought out the worst in each other, I agreed. Dad's going to be devastated when you leave. He'll be okay. He has you. I'm not enough, Tyler said quietly. I've never been enough. That's not true, isn't it? Mom left. Now you're leaving. Maybe I'm the common denominator. I felt an unexpected surge of sympathy. Tyler, your mother's affair had nothing to do with you. And my leaving. It's complicated. It's because of me. At least partly. I couldn't deny it entirely. We're not good for each other. Sometimes the best thing is to recognize that and walk away. Tyler stood, carrying his plate to the sink. When are you going? Soon. Before the therapy appointment? Probably. He turned to face me. What should I tell Dad? Nothing. I'll handle it. Tyler nodded and started to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I think you tried. In the beginning. I did try. I know. I wasn't ready for someone new. It was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. I watched him walk away, feeling a strange mix of sadness and relief. The weekend passed in an uneasy truce. Tyler and I avoided each other while maintaining civility when necessary. Mark noticed the lack of conflict and seemed hopeful. Maybe things are turning around, he said Sunday night. Tomorrow's therapy session could really help. I smiled non-committally, my phone heavy with the weight of the lawyer's number. Tomorrow, while Mark was at work and Tyler at his anti-bullying program, I'd make the call that would end this chapter of my life. As I prepared for bed, I looked at my arms. The rashes had faded to faint pink marks, barely visible. In another week, there'd be no physical evidence of Tyler's attack, but the emotional scars, for both of us, would last much longer. I thought about our breakfast conversation, Tyler's unexpected apology. Maybe in different circumstances we could have been a family, but some wounds run too deep, some patterns too entrenched to break. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, difficult conversations, and the beginning of the end. But tonight, for the first time in weeks, the house was peaceful. No revenge plots, no poisoned food, no cruel games. Just 3 broken people sharing space, each nursing their own wounds and regrets. It wasn't happiness, but it was better than war. Monday morning arrived with unexpected frost on the windows. I woke before dawn, my mind already racing through the day's plan. Mark stirred beside me as I slipped out of bed, but didn't wake. I padded downstairs to start coffee, movements automatic while my thoughts churned. Tyler appeared in the Kit Miller doorway at 7, dressed for his anti-bullying program. His face had healed to mottled yellows and greens, making him look perpetually nauseated. He watched me pour coffee with an unreadable expression. I gestured to the pot. Want some? Since when do you offer me coffee? Since today. I pulled down another mug. Black? He nodded slowly, accepting the cup with visible wariness. We stood in awkward silence, sipping our drinks while frost patterns melted on the windows. Mark came downstairs adjusting his tie. He looked between Tyler and me, clearly surprised by the peaceful scene. Morning. Everyone ready for today? Tyler shrugged. Ready as I'll ever be for forced anti-bullying propaganda. It's not propaganda, Mark said firmly. It's education you clearly need. I busied myself making toast while they had their familiar argument. Tyler's program started at 9. Mark needed to leave for work by 8, and I had a phone call to make at 10. Everything was timing. After Mark kissed me goodbye and left, Tyler lingered in the Kit Miller. You're really doing it today? I didn't pretend to misunderstand. Yes. During my program? Seems appropriate timing. He set his empty mug in the sink. Dad's going to lose it. He'll manage. Tyler grabbed his backpack, then paused at the door. That therapy appointment at 4. He's going to expect us all there. I know. What are you going to tell him? The truth. Part of it, anyway. Tyler's bruised face twisted into something that might have been concern. Not about that. He nodded and left without another word. I heard his car start, the engine rough in the cold morning air. Then silence settled over the house. At exactly 10 o'clock, I dialed the lawyer's office. The receptionist transferred me immediately, and within minutes I was providing information for the filing. Bank account numbers, asset lists, employment details. Each fact felt like another step toward freedom. We can file the initial paperwork today, the lawyer explained. Your husband will be served within 48 hours. That's fine, I said, though my stomach clenched at the thought. After hanging up, I methodically began packing. Not everything that would come later. Just essentials for a few nights at the hotel I'd booked. Clothes, toiletries, medications, my special cream for the lavender rashes, almost empty now but still necessary. I found myself in Tyler's room without quite meaning to go there. It smelled like teenage boy gym socks and too much body spray. His desk was cluttered with school papers and gaming magazines. No dried lavender anymore. My phone buzzed. Mark, texting about dinner plans. I replied that I'd cook something simple, knowing I wouldn't be here for dinner. By noon, my car was loaded with 2 suitcases and a box of personal items. I walked through the house one last time, checking for anything forgotten. In the Kit Miller, I noticed Tyler's dairy-free cheese in the refrigerator. On impulse, I threw it away. He wouldn't need special shopping anymore. I left the note on the Kit Miller counter where Mark would see it immediately. Short, factual, without accusations. Just that I was filing for divorce and would be in touch through lawyers. I'd written and rewritten it dozen times, but simple seemed best. At 12:30, I drove away from the house. No dramatic last looks, no tears. Just a woman in a car with her belongings, heading toward a hotel and a different life. I'd been at the hotel for 2 hours when my phone exploded with calls. Mark's number appeared repeatedly, along with texts I didn't read. I turned the phone to silent and ran a bath, adding hotel bubble bath that definitely didn't contain lavender. The warm water soothed my still sensitive skin. The rashes had faded to barely visible marks, but certain areas remained tender. I thought about Tyler at his anti-bullying program, probably rolling his eyes at discussions of empathy and kindness. I wondered if any of it would sink in. At 3:45, 15 minutes before the therapy appointment we'd never make, I finally checked my messages. 17 missed calls from Mark. Texts progressing from confusion to anger to pleading. One from Tyler. He's freaking out. I texted Tyler back, take care of him. His response came quickly. That's not my job. It is now, I replied, then blocked Mark's number. The lawyer had advised limiting contact to legal channels. That evening, I ordered room service and watched mindless television. The hotel felt sterile but safe. No one here would put lavender in my shampoo or expect me to cater to their dietary restrictions. No one would flick my temple or call me racial slurs. Tuesday morning, I met with the lawyer again to finalize paperwork. She reviewed the filing, explaining next steps and timelines. Mark would have 30 days to respond once served. Property division would be straightforward. We'd kept separate finances and I wasn't seeking alimony. Any children involved? She asked, though she knew the answer. A stepson, but no custody issues. She nodded, making notes. That simplifies things. I thought about Tyler, probably home from school by now. His suspension would end tomorrow. I wondered if he'd told Mark about our final conversations, about the dairy. Probably not. We'd keep each other's secrets. Our mutual destruction pact sealed by silence. The process server confirmed delivery that afternoon. Mark had been served at his office, accepting the papers with what the server described as visible shock. I tried not to picture it, but the image came anyway. Mark in his good suit, thinking about normal Tuesday things, suddenly holding divorce papers. My phone rang constantly despite blocking Mark's number. He was calling from his office, from other people's cells, from numbers I didn't recognize. I let them all go to voicemail without listening. Wednesday arrived gray and drizzly. I ventured out to buy more of my special cream, the pharmacist eyeing my fading rashes with professional interest. Allergic reaction? She asked. Yes, lavender. Nasty stuff for those with sensitivities. You need to be careful with products. I thought about Tyler deliberately adding dried lavender to my shampoo, watching me suffer for weeks. I'm very careful now. Back at the hotel, I found an email from Mark through my lawyer. He wanted to meet, to talk, to understand. The lawyer advised against it, but included his message anyway. I read it once, then deleted it. His confusion and pain were evident in every word, but I felt oddly detached. That life already seemed distant. Thursday morning, I started looking for apartments. Something small, just for me. No stepchildren to cook special meals for, no husband to enable bad behavior. The third showing felt right second floor. Good light, no teenage boys in sight. I'll take it, I told the landlord. I'll need references and first month's rent. Not a problem. I signed the lease that afternoon. Move-in date for Monday. 4 days in a hotel was enough. I wanted my own space, my own rules, my own shampoo that I knew was safe. Friday passed in a blur of logistics. Setting up utilities, forwarding mail, opening my own bank account. Each task felt like reclaiming pieces of myself I'd lost in that house. The lawyer called with updates. Mark had hired his own attorney, wasn't contesting the filing. He wanted to talk, but understood I needed space. He asked me to pass along a message from his son, she said carefully. Should I? I hesitated. What kind of message? The young man wanted you to know he's back in school and his stomach is fine. Does that mean something to you? Yes, I said quietly. Tell him I'm glad to hear it. Saturday, I bought furniture for the new apartment. Nothing fancy, a bed, a small couch, basic Kit Miller supplies. The delivery was scheduled for Monday morning. I found myself in the grocery store, automatically reaching for dairy-free cheese before remembering I didn't need it anymore. I bought regular cheese instead, the kind I actually liked. Sunday night in the hotel, I finally listened to one voicemail from Mark. His voice was rough, confused, hurt. He didn't understand what went wrong, thought we could work it out, begged me to come home. I deleted it and the others without listening. Monday's move went smoothly. The furniture arrived on time, and I spent the day arranging my new space. No gaming systems to work around, no sports equipment cluttering corners, just my things, exactly where I wanted them. That evening, I cooked a simple dinner in my new Kit Miller. No special dietary requirements, no suspicious eyes watching my every move. I ate in peaceful silence, then took a long shower with my own shampoo that I'd personally selected and inspected. Tuesday marked 1 week since I'd left. The lawyer reported that Mark's attorney had responded, proposing mediation instead of court proceedings. I agreed. Less drama seemed better for everyone. We scheduled it for the following week. I spent the day settling into routines. Morning coffee without tension, afternoon walks without planning around Tyler's schedule, evenings reading without listening for arguments through walls. The freedom felt strange but good. Wednesday afternoon, I encountered a reminder of my old life. Shopping for groceries, I spotted a woman struggling with her teenage son in the cereal aisle. He was demanding something, voice rising when she refused. She looked exhausted, defeated. I recognized that look. I'd worn it for 3 years. Our eyes met briefly. She offered an embarrassed smile, and I nodded understanding before moving on. But the encounter stayed with me through checkout, through the drive home, through dinner. Thursday brought unexpected rain and a forwarded letter from Tyler. No return address, but I recognized his messy handwriting. Inside, a single sheet of notebook paper. Dad's a mess but managing. I'm not putting anything in anyone's food. Hope your arm's healed okay. T. I read it twice, then tucked it into a drawer. No response needed or expected. Just acknowledgement that our war was over. Damages tallied, territories separated. Friday's mediation session loomed. I prepared with my lawyer, reviewing assets and proposals. The divorce would be clean, no children, no complex finances, no revenge beyond leaving, just 2 people admitting failure and dividing the remnants. Any concerns about seeing him? She asked. Number it needs to happen. You're handling this very well. I thought about the weeks of lavender rashes, the dairy retaliation, the careful dance of mutual destruction Tyler and I had performed. I've been through worse. The weekend passed quietly. I established New Patterns Farmers Market on Saturday, reading on Sunday. No cooking elaborate meals for ungrateful teenagers. The apartment felt more like home each day. Monday morning arrived with bright sunshine. Mediation was scheduled for 2 o'clock. I dressed carefully professional but not trying too hard. My arms were completely healed now. No trace of the lavender reaction visible. Only I knew how much cream it had taken, how many nights I'd stayed awake scratching. At noon, Tyler texted from an unknown number. Good luck today. I stared at it for a long moment before responding. Thanks. Take care of your dad. Trying, came the immediate reply. I deleted the thread and blocked the number. Some connections were too toxic to maintain, even with truces declared. The mediation went smoother than expected. Mark looked tired, older somehow. He kept trying to catch my eye, but I focused on paperwork and lawyer speak. We agreed on everything: asset division, timeline, no ongoing obligations. Clean break. Can we talk? Mark asked as we finished signing papers. Just for a minute? My lawyer started to object, but I nodded. 5 minutes. We stepped into a small conference room. Mark looked lost, running his hands through hair that needed cutting. I don't understand what happened, he began. Things weren't perfect, but I thought Tyler and I couldn't coexist. I interrupted. You know that. But we could have worked on it. The therapy would have prolonged the inevitable. Mark slumped in his chair. He won't tell me what happened between you two. Just says you weren't compatible. I almost laughed at Tyler's choice of words. Incompatible like lavender and skin, like dairy and intestines. He's protecting you. From what? From knowing who we became around each other. Mark stared at me, confusion evident. Cynthia, please, help me understand. Sometimes people bring out the worst in each other, I said carefully. Tyler and I, we turned toxic. Staying would have destroyed all 3 of us. But the 5 minutes are up. I stood, smoothing my skirt. Take care of yourself, Mark. And Tyler. I left him sitting there, still confused but accepting. Outside, my lawyer waited with final documents and reassurances. The divorce would be finalized in 60 days, barring complications. That evening, I celebrated with wine and takeout in my peaceful apartment. No dietary restrictions, no hostile teenagers, no enabling husbands, just me and choices that were entirely mine. The next weeks passed in healing routine. Work, home, occasional dinners with friends who distanced themselves during my marriage. I told them vague truths, incompatibility, blended family challenges, irreconcilable differences. No one needed to know about lavender and shampoo or dairy in food. 6 weeks after leaving, I ran into Adam's mother at a coffee shop. She recognized me, hesitated, then approached. Mrs. Davidson? I'm sorry, I don't know. Just Cynthia now, I said. How's Adam? She smiled. Good, better. That suspension was a wake-up call for everyone involved. I'm glad. Tyler sent him an apology letter, required by the school, but still, it seemed genuine. I tried to picture Tyler writing an apology, probably with Mark supervising. That's progress. Are you? I heard you and Mark. Divorced? Well, almost. She nodded sympathetically. Blended families are hard. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Sometimes not working out is the best outcome. We parted with pleasant goodbyes. I wondered if Adam ever knew about the dairy, if Tyler ever connected his suffering to his victims. Probably not. Some lessons were too complex for teenage boys. The divorce finalized on a Thursday. Simple email from my lawyer, documents attached. Legally single again. I signed where indicated and returned them, feeling lighter with each signature. That weekend, I deep cleaned the apartment, though it barely needed it. While organizing bathroom supplies, I found the nearly empty tube of lavender rash cream. I held it for a moment, remembering weeks of burning skin and sleepless nights. Then I threw it away. That chapter was closed. Sunday evening, I made dinner without checking ingredients or timing bathroom breaks. My phone stayed silent. No angry teenagers, no confused husbands, no family drama. The quiet felt earned. 6 months after leaving, I received one final communication through my lawyer. Tyler had graduated high school, was heading to college out of state. He wanted me to know he was doing better, and hoped I was too. No return address requested or needed. I filed the letter with other divorce paperwork, then closed the folder. Some stories didn't need epilogues. We'd survived each other, barely. That was enough. My new life stretched ahead, simple, quiet, entirely mine. No lavender allergies triggered by vengeful stepsons. No dairy-free cooking for lactose-intolerant tormentors. No enabling husbands choosing blindness over action. Just me, healing in an apartment where every product was safe and every meal was exactly what I wanted. The price of peace had been high: a marriage, a family that never quite formed, scars both visible and hidden, but some prices were worth paying. I poured a glass of wine and settled onto my couch with a book. Outside, life continued its messy complications. Inside, I'd found something better than revenge and difference. Tyler could keep his secrets, Mark his confusion. I had my own life to live. The book was good, the wine better, the silence best of all. No one would disturb this peace. I'd made sure of that, one calculated meal at a time, until escape became possible. Now finally, I was free.